Hi everyone. In this Apaf F-16 training demonstration, we'll be covering part 4 of CS1, which deals with basic visual awareness and navigation. Okay, so we're up in the air, and now we realize we don't really know where we're going. We have a few different options for figuring that out. For CS1 part 4, task is basic navigation skills, basic visual awareness. When you're new to DCS, it can be very difficult to learn what to look at because there's just so much going on. The first tool we have for navigation is what we call the Mark 1 eyeball. Being able to just look around, see things, know where you are in the world, understand what's going on. Here we can see that we're coming up on Dubai. We have the Burj Khalifa over there. When you're first learning on DCS, it's very difficult to learn what is what. Sure, we can look around and see buildings, but identifying, tanks, infantry, any type of target can be a real task. Try finding infantry within this densely populated town. It's going to be extremely difficult to find. So it takes a certain amount of time flying on DCS before you'll really start to realize what things look like and what to look for. So don't forget to look outside of your cockpit and just look around, take in what it looks like. It's all part of learning. But besides looking out the window and figuring out where we're going off of that, one thing that's probably important to learn is how to actually navigate. The F-16 has two primary tools for navigation, which are steer points and tuning into a TACAN. Let's talk about what they are. For this, I'm going to turn my jet and put it into an altitude hold on autopilot. And we'll just let it fly forward. Again, if we refer to our F10 map, we can see the map of our region. I can see me here, and I know that I want to fly to Liwa Air Force Base. When I click on Liwa Air Force Base, I get a menu with a bunch of different information here. First thing it gives me is coordinates. I can use these coordinates to tune to a steer point. However, these coordinates are not in a format that the F-16 can currently use. So, come up here, we click on these coordinates, it'll give us different formats. The F-16, we're looking for degrees, minutes, decimal minutes. This is the format we're going to want. I personally have a knee board that I use with all of the information for the region that I need. I'll be sure to link this knee board in the description so that any pilots out there can use it if you would like. This has the waypoints in the format that I need it. And if I look down here, I can see Liwa right here in orange. So if I look in on my ICP, we want to punch in this steer point. So if I come here to 4, which has STPT, steer point, it'll bring up all my different steer points. Sometimes you will already have something in your steer point 1. This is because on the mission editor of whoever designed your mission, they can have a starting steer point set on the F-16. In this case, I don't have one. So you just have to manage in your head what is what. But I like to have my steer point 1 be my starting steer point. So for this, I'm going to come down and look at Al Minhad, and I'm going to punch that in as my waypoint 1. If I press north, right here you can see the little N. 2501 608. Enter. And then I scroll down and I'm ready to do the longitude. So I'm going to press east 5523020 and hit enter. But wait, it's blinking. Why didn't this work? Well, this didn't work because on our longitudinal waypoint, there is always going to be an implied 0 after the east or west. It's something that will trip you up over and over and over again until you start to remember that it's there. East 0 5 5 2 3 0 2 0. Enter. And I can see an elevation, I'll dauber down, of 190 feet. Great. So that gives us our starting waypoint. If we zoom out our TAC map here, we can zoom out the scale, and we'll see a waypoint here, which is Almanad, our starting waypoint. Now, we're trying to get to Liwa. Let's go ahead and punch that in. Again, starting just from the first screen, we can hit steer point, and here's our rocker, our ICP rocker for steer points. So we scroll up to steer point 2, and we'll go ahead and start punching in Liwa. North 2339 641. East 053 48 749. And an elevation of 400 feet. Perfect. So we have that steer point dialed in. Now we can see we have our starting waypoint at Al Minhad going to our second waypoint at Liwa. Now sometimes when you do this, the information on your HUD won't quite refresh immediately. Sometimes it's helpful to steering rocker down back to steer point 1 and back to steer point 2, and it'll refresh this information. In this case, I'll just go ahead and put on a steering autopilot, and it'll start taking me directly to my new waypoint. Down here between our legs is our HSI. This is an extremely helpful tool. We could do an entire video just on the HSI and how courses and headings work. But here we can see this outer arrow is going to be pointing towards Liwa at our new waypoint. Now our second form of navigation will also involve this HSI, which is tuning into a TACAN. A TACAN is basically a radio beacon that we can use to zero in on with our aircraft. So if we click on Liwa again, we can see this information. We know it has a TACAN at 121 X-ray. That's what we're going to want to tune into. To tune into a TACAN, we can click our TILS, which means TACAN-ILS. And we come up with this screen on our DED. If we go ahead and press our mode select 0, we can switch between our X and Y bands. We're going to want to be in X-ray for this one. And we know that we want to choose 121. Enter. That is what we are currently tracking. Now, tuning into a TACAN is going to be extremely helpful once we get to CS3, which is air-to-air refueling. But for now, we still have this arrow pointing directly towards in front of us. But we want to change the mode to TACAN by clicking this button, this mode button on our HSI, it switches this to TACAN. We can see an example of this if we tune to a different TACAN. Let's choose a different TACAN just for demonstration purposes. Almanhad, for example, where we were just coming from, going to be off to our left somewhere. Almanhad has a 99 X-ray. Let's tune to that. Our outer arrow is still pointing to our steer point. So let's turn this to TACAN. And we can see it's pointing us to this TACAN off back to the left somewhere, where Almanhad is. Let's tune back. And it's back to being in front of us. Now that you have the tools for navigating in the F-16, you should be able to get where you need to go pretty easily. Don't forget, just keep looking out the window, looking at what things look like, and learning how to see things visually in DCS. Thank you, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.